everyone, and welcome back to A Purposeful Pursuit. I'm Crystal, and I'm excited because today I am going to be talking to you guys about what to do when the person that you thought was the one ends up not being the one. You guys, first and foremost, there's no shame in that. Many have been there before, and it's okay. So let's go ahead and let's jump into today's video, but make sure you hit that subscribe button if you love to get tips and advice on how to meet and marry the one sooner. Let's go. So first and foremost, when the person that you thought was the one ends up not being the one in your mind, you want to talk to God. And I'm saying you want to talk to God because if you thought that this person was the one, my thought is you must have had a conversation with God prior to this where he told you this is the one. And so if something happened, maybe you guys got into a big argument or some type of, disagreement. Maybe you got separated because you moved because of work or whatever, any number of circumstances have occurred. The first thing you want to do is you want to go and talk to God, and you want to make sure that you're not just in your emotions and you're upset because of an argument. You want to make sure you talk to God because maybe you're just thinking, if this person has to move to another state for work and I don't see how I could be employed there, like how is this gonna work? Maybe there's a situation that's occurred where you just can't see how this can work. The first thing you want to do is you want to go back and you want to talk to God and say, okay, God, has something changed that has changed the course of what you previously said to me about this person being the person for me to marry? And that can happen because at the end of the day, we are all free moral agents. So I really don't want you guys to get down and discouraged if somebody that you thought was supposed to be the one ends up not being the one. People make their own decisions, and God can speak to them and God can speak to you, and you might say yes and they might say no. God, I don't care what you said. I want to do whatever I want to do. Like literally so many scenarios can happen, and I don't want you to get discouraged or feel like you can't hear from God simply because another person maybe didn't hear what you heard or they're not obeying what they heard like you're willing to obey what you heard, or again, any number of things that could happen. Don't get discouraged. But again, do talk to God. Do go check back in and say, God, am I just really upset right now, or do I really need to move on from this situation? And so these next set of tips are going to come from if you go back and you talk to God and he says, yes, you need to move on. This is what you need to do next. So moving on to number two. Number two, delete everything. Get off of their Facebook friend list. Get off of their Instagram friend, they Snapchat, they TikTok, Twitter, all these social media accounts that continue to keep you connected to people. You need to get off of it. The only thing that's gonna happen when you stay connected to people via social media or even in person, if you say, oh, well, no, we're just gonna keep being friends, like we're not together anymore, but we're just gonna stay platonic friends. Especially if one person is still interested in being in that relationship, it's not going to work. It's going to be a problem. And the only thing that keeping these connections and keeping these ties does is keep giving you opportunity to go back to something that God is already telling you that you need to move on from. And it's going to be hard to move on when you're still letting your heart strings be pulled by a person. And so you want to make sure you're not following them again on various social media platforms just to check up on them, see what they're doing. Oh, did they like my photo? Oh, did somebody else like their photo? Oh, did they end up with that person that I always thought that they was kind of trying to talk to, but they always denied it? No, let it all go. You should not know anything that is going on with this individual. Let it go. And sometimes if you have children with this person, of course, that can be a different type of dynamic. But honestly, even if you have children with them, you don't have to follow them on social media just because you all have children together. You can make sure that you still just keep amicable or necessary types of communication. Be able to email each other, be able to text, but set ground rules. Hey, don't text me before or after this time unless it's an absolute emergency dealing with the children. Hey, don't, just ask me how my day is going. That's not what we need to be doing here. I want to set some clear, hard boundaries. We're not just having random conversation. So make sure you set up clear boundaries if for if there's a child in the mix or something like that, and you have to keep communication with this person, make sure you set up clear, distinct boundaries. Very important. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, dive deeper into purpose. You guys, I know the world will be like, oh, you need to find a distraction. Don't find a distraction. Dive deeper into purpose. It will be an intentional occupation of your time. And one of the things that's going to happen when you dive deeper into the purpose that God has for you is you're also going to have to dive deeper into your word, deeper into your relationship with God, because you're going to have to hear from him more about what your next step should be, what you should be doing, not only pertaining to various relationships that you come into, especially romantic ones, but you're going to have to talk to him more to find out about what it is that he put you here in this earth to do, and start doing it. Start doing it more. Start asking God about more of those next steps that he has for you. I did a devotional just last week where I was talking about the next steps and knowing more about the next steps that God has for your life. And you should really start diving more into your purpose. You were already investing a lot of time and energy into this person that you thought would be the one for you. And now that they're not, you need to fill that time that you would spend on dates at dinner and all of these other things, hanging out with this person on the phone and whatever other stuff you guys were doing together. Fill that time with purpose. Fill that time with the reason that you're here in the earth, and reinvest that time back into you, back into growing you in the way that is living in purpose. Number 4, remember that rejection is not a representation of your value. And so depending on where you fell in the split of this relationship, where again, this person is no longer the person that is for you, if they were the one that cut things off from you for whatever reason, remember that just because you're not for someone doesn't mean that you're not valuable, that you're not worthy of love from a person, does not mean that you're not amazing, that does not mean that you're not a creation of God, because at the end of the day, you are still one of God's greatest creation. God doesn't make junk. He doesn't make trash, y'all. He does not. And so you have to remember that. You have to remember who your creator is. And again, diving deeper into purpose will help you understand more of why you were created, and it will help elevate an understanding of your value and why you are here in the earth, and it will make you feel better about yourself. And then it will help you understand why a person is not for you, because who you are called to be is not meant to work in conjunction with them in a romantic relationship. And that's 100% fine. There are things I know for a fact I would not be doing today if I had ended up in a marriage with some of the guys that I dated in the past. I wouldn't be doing this channel. I can tell you that right now. And so it is God's grace that allows us not to be in relationships sometimes. It's his love for us that allows us to be valued in a relationship that he has for us. And so you should never think that because one person is not going to be with you, that is a reflection of the value that you have. It is okay. And number 5, know that God has someone better for you. And if you're just recently entering into the breakup, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow, and you're not trying to hear that right now. But like I just said, the truth is God has someone better for you. It is not that there is just one person on the planet that you could end up being with, and if you don't end up with them, then you end up with no one. No, God is better than that. He's more gracious than that. Even if the end of the relationship was your fault, something that you did that was wrong or whatever, God is gracious enough to still allow us to have someone to love when we are ready to love someone well. And so you have to know that even if something did not work out, God is going to have someone great and amazing for you when the time is right and when you are ready. So it's okay, but you have to be able to let the other person go, move on, and move into what God has for you. And like I said, these are the steps that are going to help to get you there. For those of you that are new to the channel, I think I said my name is Crystal. If I didn't, my name is Crystal. And my husband and I met, got engaged, and married all in 9 months. Our testimony is that we were able to meet and marry each other sooner. And that is the testimony we want to have for you as well. Here on A Purposeful Pursuit, we want to make your pursuit of life, of love, of your calling purposeful. We want everything in your life to be surrounded and just drenched and covered in the purpose that God has for you here on the earth, because when it is, you will live a more blessed and fulfilled life. Listen, you see the shirt, what does it say? You call it lucky, I call it blessed. Never get it twisted. It is the blessing of God on our lives that allows us to live and to thrive well. And that is what we want for you here. So if you like to get dating advice and you want to know how you can meet and marry the one sooner, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and join me here on the channel A Purposeful Pursuit. And until next time.